Well, good day to you, fam. This is B,
And this is D.
bringing you the sole opinions of two everyday Christians.
Getting pretty excited for this week's video. That's it. We're going to do another reaction video.
Yeah, these are fun because we don't really know what to expect. We've, on purpose, have not watched the Jubilee either where somebody's surrounded or the this versus that middle ground videos because we don't know what to expect. It's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. What are we talking about this week?
We have on the docket pro-gun versus anti-gun middle ground. So, kind of polarizing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what opinions, and I mean, y'all know what our opinions are so far.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then we'll chime in every here and there. So just try not to detract from the video too much, but it's going to be interesting. Shall we?
let's do this.
Yeah.
Things evolve, right? And guns are going to evolve. And if I have the ability to be able to shoot something that is as powerful as a grenade, are you going to be like, that's your right, because if someone can have it, I should too.
It's the Second
or someone
Amendment.
can, and that's the problem. There has to be some restriction. Unless you all believe that we should all be able to have nukes at our homes, grenades at our homes, grenade
We
launchers
should
at our
have.
homes.
We should be able to have equal whatever the government has.
Hold up. I mean, that's a good intro.
Yeah, good talking point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what goes around what our founding fathers wanted, right?
Yeah. To fight against tyranny.
Yeah, technically we are supposed to have equal power.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't because of the ATF, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know all the complete logistics, but yeah, we can't have autos, but the military does.
That might be an interesting topic to research and do a bunch of research on.
Yeah.
And bring forth.
Yeah. But I don't know if we should have a bunch of nukes in the, vicinity.
There's definitely here's the thing. Like there's definitely limits, right? But where is that drawn?
Yeah.
Where's that line drawn in the sand?
Yeah. Do you believe the statement of we should have what the government has, or do you not, right? Okay. Well, what else you got for us?
Back to Middle Ground. My name's John. I'm the host of the Radical Empathy podcast, and I'll be moderating today's discussion. Our topic is pro-gun versus anti-gun, and our first prompt is, I fired a gun. If that's true for
Easy.
you, please step forward.
Should be a layup.
So my family does hunt. That's a part of our culture. And when I was younger, my dad, I've gone with him. I've never killed an animal, but I have gone with him for like tracking purposes or, being outside, connecting with nature. And he did teach me how when I was younger.
Pause.
So it's
So she is on the anti-gun side, and I can tell you from a hunting perspective that if you have tracked animals, you have been one with nature, there is nothing like being one with nature when you take an animal and you take its life for your sustenance. There's, man, I teared up and kind of cried a little bit our first, Dom's first deer, because there's nothing like being one with nature when you take life in nature, if that makes sense.
I think so.
And you're doing it for the purpose of, putting meat in your freezer for your family. You've never had that experience. Others who have will probably agree with that. If you're hunting to kill something, you're doing it wrong. And most people who hunt will tell you that as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to be poaching necessarily, because that's illegal for one, and that's not right.
And there are some hunters that trophy hunt, and they want the big rack, and they want the bragging rights. But I'd say a very high percentage of hunters. I mean, even Steven Ranella, he's a meat eater. He hunts for meat. Obviously, his pod is the meat eater, and But Joe Rogan, he hunts for meat, even though they put him in very good situations for very big elk. We'll say it that way. I mean,
He's got good trackers.
Yeah, he gets the bonus of having the giants and him taking down giants, but at the same time he's promoting doing it for meat, and most hunters will do that.
You know, interesting thing. Post down in the comments how you feel about it. Is it okay to just hunt for sport, getting the prize, or should you just do it for meat? I think that's a good talking point. Would love to hear what you say.
Yeah.
Not something I've done regularly, but I have done it.
Same here. I've got like family friends that are very into guns, and one summer they wanted me to have the experience of like shooting a gun. So I tried it. I didn't love it, but you know, try everything once, I guess.
You need to do it more.
Love it?
Yeah.
I just didn't like the feeling. It was really heavy. I was very young, and I don't know. It just wasn't for me, I guess.
Bad experience.
I
maybe?
spent a lot of time in the Middle East growing up, so when we were in the Middle East, we would hunt, use guns in general, and when I would come to America, my family's had guns, I even have guns, and so I've shot multiple times.
Well, I've shot a gun, I loved it, and my
Okay,
whole
pause
family
it.
But he was anti-gun?
Okay, bro. I mean, if I was raised in the Middle East, I would probably be anti-gun too. My word. Hey fam, I know, another commercial break. I just have a quick favor to ask of you. If you love what we're doing here and want to support the show, consider joining us on Patreon. Yes, we have a Patreon now. Your support is going to help us create quality content, improve our production, and bring you even more episodes. Plus, as a Patreon member, you're going to get exclusive perks like bonus content, behind the scenes access, shout outs, and giveaways, and more. It's super easy. Just head over to patreon.com/everydaychristians_EDC and choose a tier that is going to work best for you. Every little bit helps and is going to mean the world to us. So if you're enjoying the show and want to be a part of our amazing community, go check it out. Remember, as we grow, we hope you are too. Now let's jump back into the episode. That's a whole different world over there.
I can imagine.
Yeah, when everybody's born with an AK in their hand, it's like how many? I mean, yes, there's accidental deaths here, but can you imagine the amount of misfires and discharges that weren't supposed to happen when everybody has a rifle in their hand, like 7.62 by 39, boom, boom, you know, constantly going off all the time. I probably would be anti-gun too.
Fair.
That's the only one that kind of makes sense so far.
Yeah. I mean, like, and the last gal who just said, certainly not for me. I mean, if you have a bad experience, if it kind of gives you a little feeling of PTSD, like it's just aggressive, because it does feel aggressive. It can feel uncomfortable when you first start. Like you say, you just got to do it more. But that shouldn't make you necessarily anti-gun unless you have a really, really bad experience.
Sure.
So I don't know.
loves guns, so I think that's kind of how the culture was instilled on me.
Yeah.
Bro.
Cut it out.
Yeah. Get an ad blocker.
Well, my whole life is guns. I own over 400 guns. You know what I mean? So I shoot them all the time, every day.
I know this guy.
And I'm also a United States Marine
Black
Corps war
Rambo.
veteran. I've been to war. So I shot a lot of guns in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I grew up around guns. My father was military and
He's the
police.
guy.
My older brother
Pause.
was military.
Yeah, he's on YouTube and he shoots 50 cal standing up.
Holy Moses. I
Like
think I've seen that guy.
He like leans it down and boom, boom, boom.
Don't recommend that, but
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
but he's an expert. If he's been in the military, shot lots of guns.
And police. My little brother is military. And I was taught to fire weapons at a very early age because my father
Patriot
believed that if
Barbie.
you remove the curiosity from a child about the gun and they're uncomfortable with it, they won't be interested. So
think
he
I
was
follow
right.
her on
It
Twitter.
created gun safety in our
X,
home. I
sorry.
did not like firing a gun when I was young, and I fire guns now regularly as an adult. It is about the gun and how it feels and how it shoots and how you operate it. So
That's crazy. I do that with my kids.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't even mess with them.
Yep,
You know
so it
what I
takes
mean?
away
I
all
can
the
keep them all
curiosity.
over the house.
Yeah.
They don't want it
Yeah.
no more. Dad, man, that's your gun. You know.
I was the same. I grew up in Alabama,
Same.
but my family didn't hunt, weren't military. My dad's a pastor, but they just believed in them for self-defense. And so they were always around the house. We were also instructed very young with firearm safety. And then if my brothers especially wanted to shoot growing up, then my dad would take them and practice with them. I mostly didn't want to because I also have never loved the feeling of shooting a gun. Even now, I have a gun. I'm a registered concealed carry permit owner, but I don't love the feeling, to be honest. And you're right, it differs based on the gun. But I'm not a hobbyist. I think it still revolves around the element of self-defense for me. So it's something I think you need to take responsibility for.
Would anybody want?
So it's an interesting point because, like I was saying, if you have a bad experience or something, but maybe you just really don't like the feeling of shooting a gun. It is a little aggressive. It feels, it can feel scary. I've gone out and I'll say this because I've taken my family out, and my wife, she has a 22. I have a 9mm, and she does not like to shoot my gun. I can't imagine when you had your 45, she'd probably hate that gun just because it's harder to control. There's a lot more force, and that's, for her, it's not as enjoyable. She wants to be able to enjoy it, and she likes kind of planking with a 22.
Yeah. It comes with the territory of the person. Patriot Barbie, she's like, I shoot all the time. And it's kind of a hobbyist thing, but for self-defense as well. You know, I believe that you have to practice what you preach, in a sense of, I know being instructed in a form of law enforcement, when that time comes and something happens, it's happening in less than a second, and you have less than a second to decide what to do or how to stop the threat. You have to practice that. Period. It's not innate in humans to be just very good at decision making in a split second. Yeah.
Without practice.
So you have to practice. You have to love the craft. If you're carrying a pistol, you have to love carrying a pistol.
Yeah.
And love the freedom of it. Love the law of it. Love the craft of it. I mean, there's so many things, but you have to love it. You can't just nonchalantly carry a pistol and like that Black Rambo, I have guns all over the place. Disagree. I mean, yes, train up a child in the way they should go.
Right.
And I have trained up all my kids. If you ever want to play with my pistol, I will let you. Most people are like, what? Yeah, absolutely. I'll unload it. I will take every round, and I will make sure with company, with my wife, that it's unloaded.
It's smart.
Then I will lay it on the table, and I will let them explore. I will let them figure things out, and I will let them play with it. Not play, but figure it out. I'll let them try to take it apart. You know, I'll let them field strip it. I'll let them look what field stripping looks like. All of it, right? I'll let them discover it because I don't want them doing that behind my back in my closet, or if they got in my safe somehow. Okay, that's what I advocate, and that's what I stand by, 100%. Now, that's if good. You have secret places in your house that you keep guns and only you and your wife know, perfect. I'm okay with that too, but just leaving stuff around, I'm not.
Yeah, that's a little kind of, it could be careless, and yeah.
I want to kind of elaborate just on like the feeling of firing a gun, whether it's positive or negative, just as more of an experience.
It depends on the gun, but like, you know, a lot of them kick
Amen.
really heavily. Like even I have a revolver that I got that's meant for women. It's about this big, and it's great to carry because it's small, it's easy, it's light, but shooting it sucks. It really hurts. Yeah. Some of the larger guns, like I shot an AR-15, it's like butter. It doesn't hurt at all to shoot it. So it definitely depends on which instrument you're using.
I think the person too. I got post-traumatic stress. But they told me I got it different. I get a rush. So now when I shoot a gun, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I relieve all the stress. Everything about me. I'm having a great time, you know what I'm saying? So it's all on the person and the gun and everything, you know?
I think
we're going to bring in our disagreeer.
I was going to say, it kind of feels like that.
The Middle East guy. He's like,
Why you never shot a gun?
So growing up, my family, we didn't really have a lot of guns around the house. and my cousins or my relatives didn't really have guns, or
That's
it wasn't
okay.
like an outing.
It wasn't a thing. It wasn't.
It wasn't an
around,
outing, and I found a pellet gun. That's the only thing that my father had growing up. Was
Yes.
a pellet gun that he
BB guns,
hid in
baby.
his closet away. And it
was
was
raised
one
on.
day where me and my sister were playing around, and I found it, and I actually, pointed it towards my sister.
Didn't know
So
no-
it was a very traumatic experience for myself, right, and for my family, to the point where when that was brought up, it was more so like somebody said, education on how guns are not as helpful around communities of color. If there's not a right education.
Where did you grow up? Because
I grew up
I
in
live
New
around
York.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
I grew up in New York, Brooklyn,
Was
New
it
York.
dangerous?
Yes. It was
So you don't think you need something to protect yourself?
Well, not particularly
That's
in
his right.
Brooklyn, New York, because there were already a mass surveillance of police who had guns,
Yeah, but,
right?
but police, you got to call police. It takes time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We will have a
Just
prompt
like we're talking
dedicated
about.
to
Yeah.
this.
Split second.
Perfect. It was never a curiosity for me because of that traumatic experience that I had with my sibling and not really having guns around. So I just never had that inkling in my life
it's
to even
understandable.
try to go to a range, or even when friends would suggest it, I would be like, oh, okay, good for you.
Black
you know,
Rambo was
but
already ready for the
I don't really
debate.
have that
That's the thing.
interest.
It's understandable.
Do you mind if I asked?
I want to say this too. Plus, going to a range, especially if you're in Brooklyn, New York, you're already struggling to make it. You probably don't have any income to go to a range and afford ammo, let alone buy a pistol.
Yeah.
So there's all that cost factor too. Like, it does cost a lot of money. Like, there's definitely a balance in gun ownership, and I've known both sides. Like, I feel like I'm pretty conservative on that side. You're pretty conservative, but there are some people that's like, Black Rambo has made a career out of it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Good for him.
For real.
But for the people who have 300 to 400 guns that have not made a career out of making money from guns, it's a little unbalanced, but that's our right. As well.
America.
So
yeah.
I think that's where people get, well, this is my right. Well,
it's true. You just
still got to feed your family.
Do it wisely.
Did you actually accidentally shoot your sister as well, or did you just point
No,
Okay.
it was just watching film and we're playing.
I got you.
Right,
Yeah.
bad guy or good guy.
You could have
and-
made a big mistake.
And it was a pellet gun, and my mom was like, "Boy, if you point that again," and
Your mom knew that you wasn't supposed to point it.
Right.
If they would have taught you earlier,
Right.
you would have known that.
right, but I think they didn't teach me because we didn't have guns around. None
Even
of
with
my
the
family
BB
had
gun.
guns around. Even the BB guns, like
should've showed you.
Pellet gun.
It wasn't a thing.
It just
It
wasn't
could
a
do
thing
damage.
to
Pellet
have.
gun
Your dad just
placed
had it.
correctly
It's in the
could-
closet.
Exactly.
You might
End
have shot it
someone's
2 or
life.
3 times. I got you.
Exactly.
I
And my
got you.
parents grew up and they didn't really go to the range, or
I
none
got
of their
you.
friends even spoke about it as well.
Makes
Well, and
you
you
know?
can't negate the fact that, like, access-wise, illegally in New York, I mean, how much access do you guys even have? Like,
Right.
only celebrities and, like, very important people can even obtain the right to self-defense in New York. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think that's a problem, too, because it's like, how much education did your parents get? Like, how much access did they have? And if they did
Right.
want to teach them, like, where's there a range? You can't go to a range in New York. Like,
Right.
they
I like
really
her.
do strip people and whole
She's very
geographic
logical.
areas of being able to access what we got in the South, you know?
They do.
All right, we're going to reset. Next prompt.
Now, I will say that she's very logical, and even though she's pro-gun, she doesn't like them. So I like that she's kind of a different voice. One, because I don't know. Usually, I think if you're pro-gun, you have them, you want to go shoot them, or you like to go shooting.
Yeah, you're all
go
in.
out, go out with people shooting, but that's an interesting point of view. I'd like to also just keep in mind, because I think we're probably done for this video for now. So we'll come back and we're going to finish the rest of it. But just as we go further in this one, notice how the pro-gun folks are very like inviting. Like, yeah, I could see how you just pow pow, you're just messing around in the closet, and then and then the anti-gun. Let's see if they're a little bit more fervent in their desire, or I don't know, maybe the pro-guns are just like, no, you're dumb, you need to get a gun.
Yeah, I feel like I can see life experience on the anti-gun side that made maybe at least one of them choose, yeah, I'm not really for it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not being rude. They're not saying like, they shouldn't have any guns and, you're obviously a Republican conservative and you're horrible. They're not doing any of that. It's just like, hey, I came from the Middle East and it didn't make me feel good. Or whatever the case. I think the other gal said, I've shot one, I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I don't think we should have them. So, okay.
I think we can talk logically. Like, I just don't think there's logic when somebody's like, well, I shot one and it wasn't for me, so I don't think we should have them.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. So there's two sides, right? But at the same time, just because you're anti-gun doesn't mean you're a horrible person.
No.
Either.
No.
That's why I kind of like this. It's not like a definite like you're conservative, you're liberal.
Yeah.
It's like, this is certain things that happen to me.
Yeah.
That made me think this way.
Yeah. And I will even say that my parents aren't really pro-gun. So I wasn't raised in a house that was pro-gun. And as I've gotten older, I've always thought it would be kind of cool. And now that I have gotten a gun, seen craziness in the world, I'm like, yeah, I should have it to protect my family. And then now I enjoy just even going and just shooting recreationally. It's pretty fun. So that's kind of where I come from to now. So I can see it both ways.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
well, guys, we will we'll continue this.
Yeah.
And we will cut that.
Copy.
Good Lord. So outro. Well, guys, we'll continue this topic. We're going to dive into it a lot more than what we just did. So bear with us. Be with us. Stay with us.
Yeah. And I can almost say that not knowing what's coming up, this is just I feel like it's just heating up. It's probably going to get more polarizing at some point. It's probably going to be fun. So catch us on the next videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you, fam.
God bless.